gonna come into play. I'll talk about that more in just a second. Let's get on with the introductions. In the bottom right spawning position here on Newkirk City, we've got the red Protoss player. It is Axiom's CranK. And in the bottom left spawning position, the Terran player, Mouse CC, which stands for Card Coaches, HeroMarine. It's going to be the blue Terran player in the bottom left. So I was talking earlier, as we went into this map, about the Hellbat nerf that had happened. Hellbat drops were just a little bit too powerful, because you could stick 4 of them into a medevac and drop them into the Protoss mineral line, or the Zerg mineral line, or the Terran mineral line. Of course, they were best in Protoss and Zerg matchups, not as common in TVT as far as I know. We did see it happen a few times, though, in MLG show matches too. Anyway, the Hellbat was just a really, really powerful unit, and sticking 4 of them in the medevac proved to be maybe a little bit too much. And Blizzard was really quick with the nerfs, and as of right now, I believe the patch went live maybe yesterday or maybe this morning. You can only stick 2 Hellbats into a single medevac, which is, of course, a big change. Let's see how these 2 players are doing in this game. Are we going to see any of the Hellbats? We definitely could, because we're not going to see a 1 Rax expand out of HeroMarine here. Our blue Terran player has decided to grab himself a gas, which is different from the norm right now. It's all about 1 Rax expands, usually in modern day TVP, in Heart of the Swarm, and in Wings of Liberty too. So let's see where this gas is going to take HeroMarine. Is he going to go for any kind of drops with Hellions, with Hellbats? Nice block there with the SCV, dropping that at the supply depot, making sure the probe cannot get in there to see that gas. That is all that HeroMarine wanted to prevent there. He did not want the probe to see the gas, and that's something that he has achieved. Back over in the base for CranK, he's playing very standard. He's now got 5 workers in gas, 3 in one, 2 in the other, and he's grabbing his cybernetic score right now. It is common, of course, for Protoss players to grab their second gas a little bit earlier in the Heart of the Swarm beta, because they want to get that mothership core out, which does cost, a fair bit of gas. Currently 4 workers in this gas here for CranK. There he goes. Of course, CranK's never gonna let that happen for too long. He realizes that immediately. We see a Reaper on the way, as the server was lagging there a little bit. A Reaper on the way, so it's gonna be a Reaper expand for HeroMarine. That is something new. Reapers, of course, no longer require a tech lab to be made, so they're a little bit easier to access and a little bit quicker to access. How much gas has HeroMarine mined? He's mined 50 gas right now, so he could go for another Reaper, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I think he wants to start a tech lab with that on his barracks, or he could use that later on. Still has 1 SCV mining gas, so not too worried about his gas income now. The mothership core has hit the field and is making its way across the map right now. It's a very cool thing you can do with the mothership core, is fly across the map and harass the enemy mineral line a little bit, and by the time you have to retreat, you have enough energy for a mass recall. So sometimes you can kill 1 SCV, 2 SCVs, 1 probe, 2 probes with the mothership core, and then recall back home, because it is not something that a lot of players would expect to happen. CranK also going to use this to scout a little bit. You can relatively safely do that in the current meta game. There's 3 Marines. They will easily take out the mothership core. The mothership core comes in here and scouts and sees everything, sees the 2 additional barracks building, and that's exactly what CranK was hoping for. In the meantime, we see another scout by HeroMarine go down, so both players scouting at the same time. The Reaper is going to get to see everything as well, but is also, well, not also going to bite the dust. The mothership core, of course, going to be retreating back, not taking out any Marines, not even attempting to, because mothership cores, of course, become more valuable the longer they stay alive. It's already got 112 energy saved up, photon overcharge is available, mass recall is available, and of course the time warp can make a huge difference too, so you never want to end up losing that mothership core for just a single SCV or a few Marines. So I like the decision out of CranK to just bring that back home and play it safely. The first Marauder has hit the field in the meantime for our blue player on the left side of the map. He's also researching Stim and playing things pretty standard. Apart from that 1 Reaper that we saw that he used for scouting, everything is looking pretty normal. Now an engineering bay being dropped down, so some upgrades are going to be coming out too. That engineering bay could also be to construct a few missile turrets, because Protoss players do like to harass a little bit. But it doesn't seem like CranK has got any plans to be going into any kind of Oracle play, any kind of harassment oriented style with the air. He's going to be playing a double forge strategy Oh, that's gonna be cool. Oh, look at that. We do get to see an Oracle, just in the form of an hallucination. In the beta, of course, you no longer have to research that hallucination upgrade to be able to use the hallucinations that sentries have got. Have to keep in mind that it does cost a fair bit of energy to use an hallucination, so you're going to be losing some force field energy. Something to keep in mind. As this this fake Oracle is going to be scouting, will it be able to see anything? I don't really think so. There's not that much to see. Crank's Oracle, what can he really scout? There's nothing special happening for... ooh, look at that Oracle staying alive. I think HeroMarine should realize that the Oracle is probably fake, because we don't see any missile turrets going down. Of course, as soon as you realize, oh my god, there's an Oracle, you're going to see Terran players drop down at least 2 missile turrets immediately, because those Oracles, they can kill them workers really quickly. Now we see the Phoenix moving out as the push from HeroMarine is starting to take shape and head over to the base of CranK. CranK does have a lot of force fields, and medevacs are not yet out on the field, so this force could be kept at bay with just really good force fields, and a photon overcharge on the Nexus should really help with that too. We do have 3 gateways on the field for CranK, so he can produce a good amount of units. He now realizes there's a push coming his way because there's nothing in the main base of HeroMarine, so we're gonna have to see CranK force field perfectly here and buy himself some extra time. He's gonna get a free Marine. No, he's not. The Marine is gonna get out of there. Stim has finished. This is the timing that HeroMarine wanted to hit. The early 3 barracks and the Stim lining up pretty nicely, but he doesn't have enough confidence to actually Stim in there and go for something. We do see CranK now aggressively placing pylons well, not all across the map. To be fair, it's just a single one. As I take a quick sip of my water. The probe is now on the way back. We could see some aggression coming out of CranK. He does have 6 gateways, and he has 1-1 about to finish up. But when you go for a double fort strategy, you usually don't see Protoss players hitting before 2-2 or attacking before 2-2. Because when you go for 1-1 upgrades and they finish up, it's not that big of an advantage. Because by the time you have 1-1, the Terran player will have his +1 finished up as well, and there's not going to be that big of a discrepancy. It's usually when 2-2 hits that the Protoss players are going to start to be really aggressive. The Dark Shrine has gone down too, as our observer was pointing out a second ago. The Dark Shrine is about to finish up. A Templar Archive going down too, so no Colossi going to be hitting the field anytime soon. Another scouting Phoenix is going to be going across the map and see that everything that HeroMarine is doing is very Wings of Liberty-like. No new units, no new strategies really being used by HeroMarine here. He hasn't even used the boosters, the Ignite Afterburners on his medevacs yet, but he could now, because he's loaded up 2 medevacs and he's moving in with his secondary force towards that natural base of CranK. Will CranK split his units effectively enough? Here come the Afterburner medevacs flying in and dropping the units. There's a lot of units for CranK at the front, but not as many in his main base. Does he have enough to really defend here? There's only a handful of Zealots. We do have the Photon Overcharge going down. A scan goes down to see where the rest of the units are, and the Photon Overcharge is helping out a really big deal here. More Zealots being warped in. Charge not quite done yet. Charge would have really helped these Zealots in this battle. Charge is about to finish up in 5 seconds. But by the time Charge finishes, this attack should be thwarted, and this is looking really good for CranK. He held that attack pretty convincingly, I'd say, and he's grabbing his 3rd base behind this, while HeroMarine is still staying on 2 bases. He does have a 3rd orbital command finished up and is flying out, so we should see both players establish their 3rd base relatively safely. Some more Marines gonna be... I'm not sure what they're doing there. There is vision, but CranK, he's not really reacting. Now he's reacting. He's like, oh wow, there's a lot of units here, and these medevacs have to be careful. The Zealots do have charge right now, and they do have some really good upgrades. 2-2 has finished up, and oh, he gets the medevac. There were a few units in there. That was a nice pick-off there by CranK, but he's still down 20 supply. That's actually a really big deal, down 20 supply right now, but that is because CranK is investing heavily in tech right now. He's got those upgrades that he's been investing so much in. 3-3 already on the way for Axiom's CranK, and he's grabbing Storm, and he's gone for a Robo, and he's doing everything at the same time, so that's why his supply is a little bit low. Taking a quick look at the unit staff, we can see there's only 53 probes for CranK. That surprises me a little bit. Only 53. That's a little bit low. Whereas HeroMarine, I should say, has 68 SEV. So there's a pretty big discrepancy in the worker count right now. The economy for a Marine, HeroMarine, is just so much better. As we see another attack come out here, I don't think this attack is going to do Well, actually, it could. It could. If that attack would go through right now and would hit the Protoss player in the face, Storm would not be done yet. But Storm is about to finish up. Only 30 more in-game seconds before that gets done. We see a few Widow Mines being produced out of this factory in the middle of the map. There is a Widow Mine burrowed here that is gonna... Did it kill a Zealot? Yeah, it did kill a Zealot. So killed a Zealot and damaged a few other ones. Super annoying to play against, of course, the Widow Mines. They're like the burrowed banelings of TVP. Another drop going down in the main base. There are 5 Zealots in position. That should be enough to do with it. There's even a High Templar there that could feed back and do damage. But at the third base at the same time, oh, that was a really good storm there by CranK. Pretty much cleans all those Marines up with just a single storm. And the medevac is going to be forced to retreat. We see HeroMarine trying to use his superior multitasking to do some damage to CranK, but so far the defense by CranK has been pretty immaculate. Hasn't really lost any workers yet. Only 2 workers killed by Mouse HeroMarine this entire game. The scouting zealot at the Zelnaga Watchtower has to bite the dust as HeroMarine is once again moving out. He has +3 on the way right now, but so far, right now, he only has 2-1 upgrades, whereas CranK is going to be at, well, very soon to be 3-3, now at 3-2. In a second he will have 3-3 versus the only 2-2 upgrades on HeroMarine's side. The storms are ready. Do we have any ghosts in this army composition? No, we do not. Not sure what HeroMarine is trying to do here. He's taking a lot of damage on this bio and he hasn't really killed anything yet. There he goes, kills an Archon, but he's lost way more bio in that exchange. He needs to get his ghosts out on the field and he is doing exactly that. 4 ghosts are coming out, so he will be able to combat the High Templar heavy army of CranK, but CranK is not sitting still himself. He is going to be attacking towards Colossi right now, as a single Marauder was harassing this pylon over here. Marauder versus Zealot, who's going to come out ahead? The Marauder is going to win, I think, with the help of that medevac healing him constantly. Should be fine. We see a Warp Prism out of CranK on the bottom of the map. Could be doing some harassment, dropping a few Zealots in the main mineral line of HeroMarine. Could catch him off guard. We haven't seen any Warp Prism play in this game just yet. So there we go, 4 Zealots are going to be warped in. Actually, 4 DTs being warped in. That's a little bit more tricky. Do we have any storms available? I believe we do. Yes, 1 storm is one scan is available, but only 1 scan. There's no energy on his orbital commands to do another. So this is going to be a very difficult time for HeroMarine. He did not expect DT drops in the middle of the game, and those DTs are cleaning up the mineral lines. So many workers going down. Taking a look at the worker kill tab, we can see already 11 workers have gone down. And at the same time, CranK is positioning to attack. Well, he cannot really attack, I think, this third base. There's too many ghosts at this point. I don't think that would be doing too much. Still the DTs in the main base doing damage. We see some EMPs come down to reveal them. Still 1 DT left, gonna be working away at the reactor, the building reactor, but will not be able to get that. The bunker is gonna burn down, I think. Will not be able to get salvaged in time. Boom. There it goes. So definitely good move there by CranK. That was exactly what he needed. He needed to buy some time for his Colossi to hit the field, and he has done just that. He does now have 3 Colossi on the field, 31 Zealots. How useful are those Zealots going to be? They do have good upgrades, but it's going to be tough against this many ghosts out on the field. A really good storm there, softening up pretty much the entire army. We still have about 3 more storms well, actually 2 more storms in store for this one High Templar. This is the last High Templar of the army, but this High Templar is definitely doing a good job here. Was able to get a few good storms off on the army. The entire army of HeroMarine is now deep in orange and red, but luckily there's an entire fleet of medevacs here. 12 medevacs ready to heal that entire bio army up in just a matter of mere seconds. 4th base established for CranK. No 4th base yet for HeroMarine. He is constructing additional command centers though. Another 3 command centers are coming in. So he will have that boost in income in just a second. So a bit of a lump in action right now as the army of HeroMarine was getting healed up back at base. Looks like he is satisfied with the HP that his army has got right now, and he's going to be moving out again. Still not that many Vikings in the army composition. In fact, none with the army here, and there are 4 Colossi. So this could be really tough for HeroMarine to push into. With 3 Colossi, they're going to be doing insane amounts of damage to the inferior bio army, I'd like to say. Because inferior, because they don't have 3-3 yet, and CranK does. Looks like the 4th base of CranK is going to be history in just a few seconds. Should be able to take this out, or is he going to be able to save this? No, he's not going to be able to save it. HeroMarine committed to killing that. We see the Zealots getting some decent surface area here. Really good EMPs going down everywhere. The Colossi pretty much the only units left standing, and he needs more. He needs more Zealots to buffer for his Colossi, and he's doing just that. The entire Bio army has been evaporated, and the Colossi prevail. 5 Colossi versus only just 1 or 2 Vikings. This one Viking didn't stand a chance. The Viking didn't even get a kill. I don't think we saw a single Colossi going down. That could have been a really good fight for HeroMarine if he would have had like 6 or 10 Vikings. But with the amount of Vikings that he really had no chance, and CranK has grabbed himself a nice lead. Even though he lost his 4th base, not the biggest of deals, because HeroMarine doesn't have a 4th base either. He will be establishing that in a second. So they're going to be 4 base on 4 base, and neither player is really committing to any kind of different tech just yet. I just want to point out that I thought the army for CranK looked really small because of the amount of Zealots that he had in there. 30 to 40 Zealots. They pretty much melted instantly, but because he had so many Colossi, he was still able to come out ahead and take that engagement. Now, to slow down a little bit, we see 4 Vikings at a time come out for Mao's CC HeroMarine. He's also getting Terran ship weapons level 1. Still level 1, that's really late to be getting ship weapons level 1, because the Colossi, of course, have 3 armor, and they will have +2 shields in just a second. Not to forget about that. The shield upgrades, of course, making a fair bit of difference. Not the biggest difference in the world, but they are making a bit of difference. We see another DT harassing over here at the 4th base, gonna get taken out. More DTs. Oh, we see some storm drops here happening. They actually managed to get a good amount of SCVs there. 2 High Templar on the high ground have 4 and 3 kills, so 7 SCVs being killed by those storm drops as more DTs and Zealots are being dropped into the main base. CranK showing off that he knows how to drop and multitask too, and he's doing a fair amount of damage. Going to be taking out some reactors, taking out some add-ons, and even taking out a fair bit of bio here. It's actually doing a really good job there, because there was no detection. The DTs are still running rampant. The Zealots are still doing damage to Marauders left and right. And GG gets called by HeroMarine. He realizes he's too far down and throws out the GG. He couldn't deal with the harass. The Zealot Templar that CranK was throwing his way were just a little bit too much for the poor HeroMarine, and he has